This is the Brew Party Podcast. Episode number 84 is here. We are back once again with another great episode. We have a pretty topical episode coming at you today with the big news from yesterday that not our guy, I don't know why I'm saying our guy, but Von Miller traded from the Denver Broncos to the LA Rams. The Rams are officially all in. They're pushing those chips to the middle of the table, ladies and gentlemen. They are adding Von Miller to that defensive line with Aaron Donald, with Leonard Floyd, who's come on as of late. Of course, as soon as he leaves Chicago, he prospers. That's neither here nor there. So, to talk about this blockbuster move, I have a Broncos fan from Fourth and Long Radio. It is Ross Allen, the head honcho over there. He joins me to talk about what this means for Denver, what this means for LA, what Von Miller meant to the Broncos. We're talking about a guy that's been there since 2011 as the number 2 overall draft pick, the MVP of Super Bowl 50. He is the active leader in career sacks with 110.5 in the entire NFL. I mean, he's the highest graded edge rusher on PFF since, I think, 2014 or something like that. Oh, by the way, Aaron Donald's number 2 on that list. So the Rams now have the 1 and 2 rated PFF best pass rushers from the past decade. What else? We talk about, I don't know. I'm not going to spoil much else, actually. But it's a great interview with Ross. We actually had a lot of good laughs. This was a therapeutic session for him. This was his first time behind the microphone since the trade. I was really searching for what I wanted to talk about or what I really wanted to hit on. And this news scroll comes across the news desk, if you will, or comes across Twitter this morning and just made me go, what the hell is going on? Ross was my first message. He's been someone I've been wanting to get on the show for a long time, and he did not disappoint. We got a lot of great moments, a lot of good laughs, and a lot of great analysis about really what is next, what he thinks is the right move for the Broncos. Did he see this coming? Was this something we all should have seen coming? All of that good stuff. Before we get into this episode with Ross, I got some shit I want to talk about from this from this past weekend of football action, a little basketball action too. So before we get into the interview, let's do that first. All right, so it was a pretty eventful weekend in the world of sports, in the world of football. We'll start in my own personal hell, and that is Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois, because it seems that every time I go, they just lay an absolute egg. I know I did go to the Nebraska game, which was an incredible win. I've been so up and down on this team all year. Literally last week, we saw the video of me freaking out. We beat Penn State. I was so excited about the team, and I really should have known better. And in the back of my mind, I wasn't expecting anything special, right? But, this is a Rutgers team that comes into Champaign. You're coming off a huge win if you're Illinois. Rutgers had yet to win a conference game. You're coming off a game where you run for 357 total yards, and you lay an absolute stinker at home in front of actually a pretty decent crowd, I might add. The student section, I got a little rant for the student section, but I know it's a tradition to do the card thing, but if it is half full and you don't even know what the cards are, you can't even complete the pictures on the cards, might be okay to start skipping a couple half times if we can't fill the student section, guys. But other than that, Illinois, 107 rush yards for the game. Not great. 0 points in the second half. This was a game they were leading 14-10 at halftime. It's a game they end up losing at home in the Big Ten. Last week, like I said, on the road at Penn State, they run for 357 yards. At home against a Rutgers team with 0 wins in conference, you have 107. classic Illinois football. I mean, Brandon Peters probably had his best game of the season, which of course they lose. 14 for 19, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. The one was like a 50-yard pass to Isaiah Williams, which was a dime. Then they had a nice play to Daniel Barker. That I think it was near the end of the first half. Then the second half, they just do nothing. They score 0 points. They're conservative. The offense just stalls. Pathetic. Bad loss, 20-14 at home to Rutgers. And Rutgers isn't a bad football team. They like you see that name Rutgers and you think just awful things because, I mean, we all know how bad their program has been. Schiano has that program in the right direction. They're now sitting at 4-4. They could make a bowl game. I don't know. I think they play Wisconsin this week. I don't know who else they have the schedule with, but I mean, good on Rutgers. That was a good win for them. But if you're Illinois, I don't want to say inexcusable loss, but another just added to the list of just super frustrating losses this season where you haven't been able to play 4 quarters of football, which we'll see how that goes. Next week, this week, I mean, they're going to Minnesota. That's probably a loss. They still got to go to Iowa. That's probably a loss. And then on November 27th, you host Northwestern, which you actually do have a chance to win, but it's always the rivalry game. It just means more. Throw the records out. Even if both teams are going to enter the game with only 3 wins, it always seems that even when Northwestern is having their worst years, they find some way to beat Illinois. So we'll see how that goes. Not looking great in Champaign. It was nice to have some family, nice to have my grandparents, my cousin here to tailgate with us. I mean, we had a good time doing that, but nothing much to speak of from that game. So that is all I got from college football. I know, of course, that's just super homer of me. Other than that, let's go to the NFL because this was just a weird weekend in the NFL. Injuries and backups just galore. We'll start in New Orleans with the unfortunate news. Jameis Winston out for the year with an ACL injury. Still able to tear it up in the locker room. One of the greatest videos of all time. One of the best camera cuts you might ever see from an IG Live celebration from the Saints locker room after the game. And you got Jameis. Camera cuts to Jameis on one leg with crutches. Just dancing his little heart out. I love Jameis Winston. He is the funniest quarterback in the NFL. Torn ACL. I think he also injured his MCL as well. He'll be done for the year. Sucks. He got his opportunity. He waited his turn in New Orleans, and this is how it's going to turn out. So you enter Trevor Siemian, Broncos legend Trevor Siemian. I asked Ross a couple questions about him later. He comes in for New Orleans and he gets the victory over the Tom Brady-led Bucs. He didn't have to do that much. 159 yards, 1 touchdown. He didn't look bad, though. Those numbers don't super, stand out to you. But the Saints defense won them this game, in my opinion. They get 2 interceptions on Brady, including a pick 6 to seal the game and go up 9 with less than 2 minutes left in the game. Hats off to the Saints. They are still in contention for this division. Now the question becomes, who do they go with at quarterback? Taysom Hill supposed to be coming back this week from a concussion. You'd like to think he's the guy. I mean, Sean Payton has the biggest boner he's ever had for anyone for Taysom Hill. So we'll see. You also have Siemian, who didn't look bad. So could they see him go there? You have the rookie Ian Book as well. We have some thoughts from Ross that I won't spoil later about this. I think they should give Cam Newton a call. I don't know. Why not? Seems like somebody that would pick up the phone pretty quickly, even if it's just to gauge interest. But I think Cam Newton should be on the list. I'm sure we'll hear some quarterbacks heading down to New Orleans for some workouts later. But they do still have those 3 quarterbacks in that room as well as Jameis, so maybe they don't make any moves. But the deadline is today. So I am recording this late Monday night, Tuesday morning, so I don't have all the deadline moves yet. If something happens, I could be out of date here, but I won't be shocked if the New Orleans Saints make a move, and I kind of think they do need to make a move. So from there, we go to the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Jets, and I want to apologize right now. We had A.J. Williams on the show last week, Bengals superfan from Three Man Weave. I asked him if this was a letdown spot for the Bengals, if he was worried at all. He said he was not. Said it was going to be good. It was the Jets. It's Mike White. Well, Mike White, first start ever in the NFL, torches the Bengals for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think he had 1 or 2 interceptions as well, but he was just untouchable. Cincinnati did kind of get fucked at the end of the game. Really bad helmet-to-helmet call where, Awuzie, like, what else was he supposed to do? Johnson also led with the crown of his helmet. This was on like a 3rd and 12 where Cincinnati gets the stop, would have forced a punt. They would have got the ball back with, I believe, like a minute 45 to go around there. But no, it's 15-yard penalty for a helmet-to-helmet hit, unnecessary roughness, whatever the call was. I don't think I had the sound on that one. I think that was on Red Zone. Just a bad call. So it gives the Jets the first down, essentially gives them the game. But good on the Jets. Mike White, wow. He might be stealing this job from Zach Wilson. Is that crazy to say? He comes in for the injured Zach Wilson last week. The Jets trade for Joe Flacco. Do we see him at all? Robert Saleh, the Jets head coach, has already said Mike White will be starting on Thursday when they go to the Colts. Jets are plus 10.5. I kind of love that line, and when I love it, it usually means it'll never happen. So we'll see what Brew picks. Speaking of Brew, broke the cold streak Monday night. Giants cover, plus 10.5 there as well. That's too many points. These guys get paid to play football too. Speaking of the Giants, I got my review and preview gear on. Just came today. Shout out Tom, Hank, Sam, all those guys over there, all the guys and girls, I should say, over there at Review and Preview Sports. Go check out their awesome content as well. Joe Burrow in this game, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Bengals. Michael Carter, also huge for the Jets, worth mentioning. 172 total yards, 1 touchdown. He was their leading rusher and receiver, 9 receptions for like 99 yards or something like that. So moving on from this game, another backup that won a game. The rule of threes was in effect in the NFL. Cooper Rush starts in place of Dak, throws game-winning touchdown pass to Amari Cooper with less than a minute to beat Minnesota on the road in his first career start. Cooper Rush, 24 for 40, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Let these backups come in and just sling it. I absolutely love it. Unfortunately, Brew picked the Vikings on Sunday night, which was just terrible. I knew we were fucked from the start. You never bet on Kirk Cousins in primetime. He went full Kirk in prime. Well, I say full Kirk, but like we didn't see any back-breaking interceptions. We didn't see any stupid really turnovers, I guess, but he was just unimpressive. It was he 23 for 35, 184 yards and 1 touchdown. So they drove down. Minnesota drives down the field with ease on the first drive, touchdown pass to Adam Thielen, and then for the rest of the game, it was like they were playing not to lose. It was like I say all the time, they're playing chicken shit football. And I know Dallas is a really good team. But when you don't have your starting quarterback, that's not, and you're on the road, this feels like a game Minnesota needed to win. They already come into the game at 3-3. You never know. There's only so many home games you get a year. And to get one against a backup quarterback, it just really feels like they blew it. Also really big for the Cowboys tonight, or last night, Sunday night, was Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb just torching the Minnesota secondary. I know my buddy Tom Scavetta says they bend but don't break, but Cooper 8 for 122 and a touchdown, CeeDee 6 for 112. I don't know if that's necessarily not breaking when you have 2 guys with less than 10 receptions, both for over 100 yards, but good win for the Cowboys, and the NFC North fucking sucks besides the Packers. We will just say that. So we go to another injury news that I wanted to get here, which sucks. Derrick Henry hurt in the win over the Colts. Titans win 34-31 in overtime in Indianapolis. That was an awesome game. But unfortunately, King Henry is hurt. Could be done for the year. I think it's something with his foot. I'm not exactly sure. He has just been putting up insane numbers the past 3 years of his NFL action, which it's just been crazy. So for Henry, this year, if you look at his numbers, 219 attempts, first in the NFL, 937 yards, first in the NFL, 10 rushing touchdowns, first in the NFL. He's led the league in rush yards the past 2 seasons, went back-to-back, 2019, 2020. Obviously on pace here to do it for a 3rd year in a row. Would be the first guy since Emmitt Smith did it back in the early 90s, I think 91 through 93, if I'm not mistaken. Don't give me shit if I got that wrong. Wasn't born yet, so whatever. But shout out Emmitt Smith. I think I did a book report on him once. Anyway, the Titans pick up Adrian Peterson today I think they signed with the practice squad with the, I think, intent or expectation that he is going to be on this roster. On the active roster going forward. So we'll see. That's a huge piece for this Titans offense. Julio Jones is still battling injury. Titans coming off 3 really impressive wins in a row, and they're very hot right now. We'll see how they respond, see if they make any moves here at the deadline. We're going to talk Bears here for a second because I got to do it. Positive. We'll start with the positive. Justin Fields has his best game as a pro. He looked incredible on Sunday, guys. He was making throws. They were moving him out of the pocket, letting him make plays with his feet. He finished his 19 for 27, 175 yards, 1 touchdown. He does have an interception that was at the end of the game off his receiver's hands. That really wasn't his fault. 10 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown there. We saw the 22-yard touchdown run on 4th and 1 where he was dead to rights. He's able to completely reverse the field, which is absolutely incredible. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I think it's actually good for the Bears that he performs well, but they keep losing as far as just the draft pick goes and all of that good stuff. But the defense was just absolutely nowhere to be found. The Bears end up losing 33-22 in an absolutely winnable game for Chicago. The defense gives up 467 yards, no sacks, no quarterback hits, no takeaways, and they forced 0 punts. Absolutely unsustainable, absolutely ridiculous performance by this defense. I don't care who's out. To not be able to force a punt against a team that is 2-5 is absolutely atrocious on your home field. Embarrassing performance defensively, but Justin Fields, man. They finally played to his strengths, and I guess all it took was for Matt Nagy to get COVID. Jesus Christ. So, designed runs, bootlegs. They actually worked. Who knew? Maybe everybody who's been yelling and screaming for that shit for the entire season. 41 dropbacks, 4 for 4, 4 touchdowns, 4 for 4, 40 yards, a touchdown. 89 of his 103 rush yards came on those 41 dropbacks, design runs, bootlegs, all of that good stuff. It's like everybody knew this shit besides the Bears coaching staff, I guess. So Bears lose. That sucks. On to next week. Winnable game in Pittsburgh. We'll see. Huge win for them this weekend. Credit to them for beating the Brownies. Last thing I'm going to end on before we get out of here, before we get to the interview with Ross. The Bulls are so fucking back. It's not even funny, guys. They're so good. I am so hype. I am excited for Bulls basketball again. It is one of the greatest feelings in the world. Bulls are back 6-1 for the first time since 2012. DeMar DeRozan, back-to-back 30-point games. Huge road win in Boston against the Celtics, 128-114. The Bulls were down by 19 in the second half. They claw their way back. You know who a huge part of this win is? Ayo Dosunmu, the Chicago kid, the Illini, steps up, comes off the bench, provides a spark for his team. 6 for 6 from the field, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. His first well, not his first, his best game as a pro so far, his biggest performance. Oh, by the way, DeMar DeRozan, like I said, back-to-back 30-point games, pours in 37. LaVine has 26. LaVine had like 4 or 5 threes that rimmed out that looked like they were going in, roll out at the last second. He easily could have had a 30-point game. The question was, oh my God, how is DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine going to coexist in this backcourt? Who's going to get the ball? Seems to be going pretty damn well so far. I mean, credit to you, DeMar. You have shut these haters up. Most overrated signing. I know what you're saying. It's early. Clip this. I don't give a shit. The Bulls are good. The Bulls are back. I don't care how early it is. DeMar DeRozan, sneakily the best signing of the offseason so far. Chicago is watching. Chicago is ready for another winner. I mean, I know not just Chicago. I shouldn't speak on Chicago if I'm sitting here in Champaign, but you get it. You get it. It's so good to root for a team that is good. Illinois basketball is almost back too. God, as much as I love football season, when basketball gets back and rolling, there's just nothing like it. I am just in a state of bliss right now. I'm so excited with, where the Bulls are going. The Bears, it sucks, but, when you see Fields play well, that kind of helps. And like I said, maybe the best case scenario for the Bears is Fields looks really good. We keep losing these games. We get rid of Matt Nagy. We maybe get rid of Ryan Pace, and we get a better draft pick, and we build this team for next year. This isn't the year for this team. I mean, of course, we want to look good and not be mediocre, but I think we'll take what – I mean, and I don't want to sound like I'm just fucking being complacent either, and for any Bears fan watching this probably getting pissed off. I want to win. I hate watching them lose. But right now, it might be better for us, or we're just not as talented. Look at who we have on the outside. I don't understand why he's not connecting with Allen Robinson. I love that he's got this connection with Mooney. I think that's something to build on for the future. It just makes it very interesting to see what the Bears are going to do this offseason. I think obviously they have to look at the offensive line because it's fucking terrible. I mean, that's a given. But we might have to go get a couple skill guys as well. Also, Khalil Herbert sneakily going to take that number 2 running back spot. It'll be interesting to see what they do when Montgomery comes back from injury. Also, I mean, that's one of the reasons the Bears lost this game. Is Damon Williams goes out. Khalil Herbert did leave the game for a while, ends up coming back. Ryan Nall was your only running back, so that kind of eliminated the Bears' running game for a little bit in the second half. Anyway, this has been like 20 minutes. I love this shit. I love when I actually have time each week to sit down and do this. I know it hasn't been a lot of this the past few weeks, trying to reconcile that, trying to figure out this crazy schedule that I currently have going. But what a weekend of football. We're back for Maloney's Moneyline on Friday with 2 special guests. We have Lucas Wilson, we've got Grant Baker joining the party, joining Maloney's Moneyline, giving us their best bets for the weekend as well. So that is enough of me rambling. Let's get you into this interview with Ross Allen from 4th and Long Radio. Before we do that, please subscribe to us on YouTube, like this video, comment, share it with a friend who shares it with a friend. Join the party. We'd love to have you. YouTube.com/thebrewparty. Or you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you're more into listening to us, we're cool with that too. I know I'm not a looker, as they say. So just search The Brew Party wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, all of that good stuff. Just go to www.thebrewparty.com. It's got links to all of our episodes. You can listen to it right on the website, or it'll link you off to your favorite podcast player. It's got links to all of our social media. Speaking of social media, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram at The Brew Party. We're on Facebook at The Brew Party Podcast. Donate to us on buymeacoffee.com, and I will shotgun a beer for you on the show, give you a shout out. Thanks to everybody so much for the support. Before I get out of here, or not really out of here, before I get us out of here, before I get you into the interview with Ross, I know I say that a million times and remember something else to say. Please leave us a rating, like us, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We're still trying to get up to 100 ratings and reviews. If we can get up to 100 ratings and reviews by the 100th episode, I think that would be insane, and I think I could pull off a pretty dope guest for the 100th episode if we get that done. So, one more thing. I am now a part of a brand new podcast. I know I'm dumping another thing into this already busy schedule. Catch me on the Edging the Truth podcast with my good friends One Lung, Dave, and Brian Shenanigan. It's a conspiracy theory podcast. We're going over different topic each show. First episode is about ghosts. You can search for edgingthetruth.com, at edgingthetruth on all social media platforms, so Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are on YouTube, youtube.com/edgingthetruth. We're on Google Podcasts. I think we're on Spotify. Still working to get to all the platforms. Go to www.edgingthetruth.com. Awesome project. I'm so excited to be a part of something different that I'm not usually used to talking about. It's usually mostly sports and all that good stuff for me, but now little different topic, getting spooky. Talked about ghosts for episode 1, Bigfoot coming episode 2, edgingthetruth.com. And then don't forget, From the Stands, college sports weekly college football game day show coming at you every Friday, Thursday evening, Friday morning. Check us out on Facebook at From the Stands Sports. Search us on YouTube as well, From the Stands College Sports with Tom Scavetta, Brian McCardle. Always a good time. All right, now, finally, to discuss the Von Miller trade to the Los Angeles Rams from Fourth and Long Radio. Make sure you follow them. They are an awesome follow on Instagram. Check them out on YouTube, Fourth and Long Radio. They are on the route to 1,000 subscribers. Ross will tell you where to find all that information at the end of the interview. But from Fourth and Long Radio, the one and only Ross Allen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is a very special episode of the Brew Party podcast. Episode 84 of the Brew Party is here, and it has been an absolutely wild weekend of football, and it's all culminating on this Monday with this news where I didn't see coming, rolls across the Brew Party news desk this morning, and go, what? What just happened? So I had to bring on a Broncos fan to talk about it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Von Miller has been traded from the Denver Broncos to the Los Angeles Rams for 2 2022 second day NFL draft picks. So a second round and a third round draft pick. To help me break this down, what this means, from Fourth and Long Radio, it is Ross Allen. Ross, how are you doing, man?
Not great. Not great. Oh, yeah, it's been a day, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I really can't. I've had trades in the past from my favorite sports teams. I've had trades that have hurt. I don't think any of them has stung as much as this one has. It's man, talking to my other Broncos fans, my friends, and it's just been an interesting day full of a lot of emotions. It's tough because you got to look at this from a team perspective. You got to look at it from a fan perspective. And there's a lot of ways that you can take this. So this is my first time actually talking about this. So I'm looking forward to our little therapy session, as you will. I'm sure this is going to be healthy for me and be able to get my feelings out on the table. And I'm hopefully going to be able to provide maybe we could laugh this way through it. That's how I like to handle tragedy, is with humor. Probably going to do it here, but of course, much appreciated. Thank you for having me on. So 84, it's an honor to be on the show. I wish it was in different circumstances, but it is what it is.
Of course, we had to get a Brew Party Fourth and Long Radio collab at some point. Unfortunately, it's under these circumstances. So, let's just talk about really what this means to Broncos fans, to yourself. You see a name like Von Miller. He's a guy that has been around since 2011. He was John Elway's first draft pick. It was being in charge of the team. He was integral in that Super Bowl 50 victory, signed that huge contract in 2016. This was the last year of that deal. Maybe over the last couple of years, a little more injury prone, but he is, 32. You wouldn't necessarily say he's in his prime, but what he just means to the Broncos, that can't be understated.
Well, he is, especially as of right now, with Von Miller being traded today, there is one active roster member on the Broncos that was a part of that Super Bowl 50 team. Would you be able to guess who it is?
It's McManus, right?
That's the one. Now, of your entire Super Bowl 50 team, the only person remaining is your kicker. That's how much change this team has gone through since 2016. And I mean, I'm glad that Brad McManus, I mean, the legendary Gooch splitter himself, he's fantastic, except when he actually missed a field goal on Sunday. But the game they win, I mean, two things that don't normally happened. It was weird. But it's so obvious to see the impact Von Miller has on Denver, because if you look at picture of the fans, if you look at picture of the game of the stadium, hell, even me right now, what jersey do you see Broncos fans wearing? You see John Elway, you see Peyton Manning, you see Von Miller. Von Miller, as a defensive player, is up there with the greatest quarterbacks his franchise and the NFL has ever seen. That's how damn good this guy is. And he's like, I forget, in terms of like quarterback pressures, in terms of sacks, he's first on the list for the Broncos franchise. The person after him he has double the numbers of second place. That's how damn good Von Miller's been. And that's how damn consistent he's been as well. So he really was the heart of the team. He was the last soul remaining of the last time Denver was truly happy. And so obviously it's a bit of a little, I feel like I got stabbed in the heart, but ultimately I kind of saw it coming. I just want to ignore it as best as possible, not think about it, because I didn't want to think about it. It hurts. It still does. And it's going to hurt for a while.
Right.
But if you look at the trade here, I mean, a second and a third rounder, the Broncos pay $9.9 million of Von Miller's $9.7 million remaining left on his contract. It wasn't a bad deal. It wasn't a bad deal by Patton. Obviously I'm a little biased. I thought it would have been better. I would have hoped for 2 second rounders. But the Broncos now have around 10 picks. And I think most of them are in the first couple days of the draft for 2022. So they're going full on rebuild mode here. So it's not the worst thing, but man, it absolutely sucks. There's no better way to put it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you mentioned Miller's sack numbers. Not only is he the Broncos like all time, he is the league's active career sack leader with 110 and a half. He has 8 Pro Bowl selections, 3 first team All Pros. He was Super Bowl MVP, all decade team for the 2010s.
Also, I'll give him Dab of the Year award when he hit that fat one against Cam Newton and the Panthers. Always one of my favorite gifts.
Absolutely. So this year, if you look at what he's done, actually hasn't been that bad. He's got 4.5 sacks on
really
pace
solid
to go.
First couple weeks too. He started out right out of the gate.
During that little losing streak you guys kind of went on, he slowed down just a little bit, but he was injured. He misses last week's game with an ankle. He says he hopes to play Sunday night against the Titans for the Rams. What do you think he steps in right away and makes an impact on this defense in LA?
Absolutely, he steps in and makes an impact on his defense right away. This is a really, really good Rams roster. This was already a really solid defense that they had. I mean, they already have one of the meanest defensive players that we've seen in a long, long time in Aaron Donald. RC guys, Leonard Floyd off the edge. With a solid secondary as well, they were missing a little bit of an edge on the outside pass rush. The inside you didn't really have to worry about. But now already you get to see guys you have to double team Aaron Donald, essentially, if you want to have success. If you can in a play, you triple team him just to make sure. Now, what are you going to do about Von Miller coming off the edge? A guy that is still a good football player. He's still one of the better pass rushers in the league. He's still top 10 at the least. This is scary. This is a really scary Rams team. And you have to imagine, on one end of the spectrum, you have Broncos fans. But on the complete opposite, You have Matthew frickin' Stafford right now, who's having an MVP caliber season, who has the best wide receiver in the league right now in Cooper Kupp, who has a really solid number 2 in Robert Woods. And now his defense has gone from great to that much greater with Von Miller there. This is he's going to make an impact as soon as he steps onto that field, and it's good because it takes a little bit of pressure off him as well. Obviously, he was the defensive guy. I mean, along there, him and Justin Simmons with the Broncos, they were the two pieces. Now Von Miller isn't going to have to be the guy that gets to make plays every single time. He has help. He has legitimate help, and as long as the Rams stay healthy, oh boy. They're making Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah, so they do definitely seem to be going all in. This is another blockbuster trade for Sean McVay's team in the last few months. Obviously, they bring in Stafford over the offseason. So now he joins a defensive line with Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd, like you said. So Aaron Donald, I think, had 2 sacks yesterday. I'm sorry, Leonard Floyd is what I mean. Leonard Floyd had 2 sacks yesterday. He's coming off his first 10-sack season. Of course, as soon as he leaves Chicago, he starts to prosper. That's just how shit works. And then so basically you just have to choose who you're going to block. Do you just load up the middle? And then you pick an edge? Like which guy are you just going to let free? They have an absolute firing squad on that defensive line. So now the Rams have on each side 2 guys with Floyd and Von Miller that have 61 total quarterback pressures already on the season. So if we jump back to the Broncos, what does this mean for the Broncos defense, losing Von Miller? Who fills that role for them? Is this kind of them just punting on the season? Should we expect to see more moves from Denver?
Do you want the easy answer here? The easy answer of who fills in for Von Miller is not a damn person. That's the easy one right there.
Right.
I think the suckiest thing, because now the premier pass rusher, at least when he's healthy, hopefully he'll be back soon, is Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb, when he was drafted a few years back, he was supposed to be the guy that he was supposed to be Von Miller's number 2 guy. He was supposed to be, that was supposed to be such a damn good pass rushing duo. You want to know how many games they played together? 2.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I never realized it was that low. 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
How long has Bradley Chubb been on the
few
Broncos?
years? He missed pretty much all of last year with an injury. And now he's missed games this year with injury. Von Miller was missing games with injury. Hasn't worked out great. Probably one of the greatest pass rushing duos that could have been.
Absolutely.
It's such a shame, but I mean, Bradley Chubb's he's that guy now. He's 100% that guy. And this is easily a sign of things to come for the Denver Broncos, because right now, man, you're giving away Von Miller, give away everyone else. Because the guys that should be on the trading block: Tate Bridgewater, Drew Lock, throw Kyle Fuller in there, Kareem Jackson, Melvin Gordon, Cortland Sutton possibly as well. In there, you're going to be selling guys, especially guys that, honestly, if you don't see a guy being on your team after the next 3 seasons, might just go ahead and, I mean, at least hear offers on them. I would probably like to keep Cortland Sutton, though, because he's a really solid young wide receiver. But the problem with him is that he's going to be requiring some money once he gets his next contract extension, because he's a really solid wide receiver. A guy that'd be easier to keep, and almost I'd rather keep, depending on the value, is Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick, the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. He's been really solid for them, even with Judy and Cortland Sutton there. Tim Patrick's been the guy. So those are the guys you want to keep, and hell, I might even throw Noah Fant out the trading block as well. It's going to be a new team within the next couple seasons, but they're getting a crap ton of draft capital. I do have faith in George Patton, and we'll have to see where this team goes. I mean, they could draft who knows? Maybe we'll wait to get Carson Strong. I guess that wouldn't be the worst thing, man. Have an arm there in Denver. You could throw the football out of the stadium in that altitude. Nah, There's going to be a lot of changes made in Denver, and it's a bad time to buy a jersey of a current player. That's 100% for sure. I'm okay with Von Miller because he's always going to be a different Bronco. As soon as he retires, they're going to put him in the Ring of Fame. Then 5 years after that, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So he's going to have an orange jacket, he's going to have a gold jacket, and I can't wait to see his recently they unveiled stuff from Mike Shanahan, Peyton Manning now back-to-back weeks with the Ring of Honor guys. Now you're going to put Von Miller in as soon as he's done playing there. So he's going to have his face on a statue in front of the stadium. His name's going to be on the stadium as well. And that's the next time we're going to see him, unfortunately, but he's always going to be a Denver Bronco.
Absolutely. I mean, he said that multiple times to the media today. Mm-hmm. We'll always have Super Bowl 50. It's always Broncos country. I'll always be a Bronco.
I love Super Bowl 50. When I'm feeling the worst, I go back and watch highlights. I instantly feel better again. Last time I think I truly experienced happiness when watching sports.
Jesus, that was too long ago for that to be the case, but I definitely understand how that goes. So a guy I want to ask you about is your head coach, Vic Fangio, because with all those names, that's a lot of the core of this team that you just mentioned, basically just gutting. Does that include the head coach? A lot of rumblings have been that Fangio is, on the hot seat in Denver. Obviously that 3-0 start, I had you guys feeling really good. Now, week 8, you're sitting at 4-4. Finally ending that 3-game losing streak this past Sunday in a pretty bad game.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
But so I mean, what are your thoughts on Fangio? Does he have a chance of keeping this together? Or do you see his future as not very long in Denver as well?
No. I mean, I want his ass out a couple weeks ago. Get him out of there. The Broncos, you're cleaning house with players. You're going to clean house with coaches as well. Get them all out of there. I hate Pat Shurmur so much. He is so awful. I mean, we're recording this on the 1st of November. It's past Halloween. Pat Shurmur is still dressing up as offensive coordinator. What's he doing? Oh, no, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare worse than Freddy Krueger is having Pat Shurmur as your freaking offensive coordinator. Fangio, he's had his time. He's had his chances. No, it's not like I don't hate Fangio. He's really not that bad of a head coach. He was put into a bad situation, for sure. I mean, when you're having Case Keenum, Trevor Siemian, Joe Flacco, for how elite he is, he's still not a great guy to have there at the helm. Not the best situation, but nah, you just got to clean it. Patrick McClude. Get McMahon out there, the worst special teams coordinator in the league. Honestly, you could probably fire just about every head coach on there, except I like Mike Munchak. He's done a good job developing the offensive line and turning Garrett Bowles into a holding machine, into the most improved player of the year last year, and one of the best guys, at least according to PFF and Pro Bowler. So he's the only guy I kind of like right now. Everyone else, you can get rid of them. And Vic Fangio, he's not bad. Honestly, if this situation would never happen, I would love for them to demote him to defensive coordinator. A situation that would never happen.
Right.
But he's one of those guys like Wade Phillips. And we want to talk about that Broncos Super Bowl team, a guy that's a really, really, really good defensive coordinator, but he's just not a head coach. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not everyone's meant to be a head coach. If you're a really good defensive coordinator, like Vic Fangio is, that's perfect. That's your role. And there's nothing wrong with sticking to it, because that's where you see your most success, and that's where teams see the most success from them. Wade Phillips, fantastic defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. Nah, Broncos clean house with players. You're going to clean. You got a new GM. You're going to clean house with players. You're going to clean house with coaches. You're going to have to start a little fresh, and it hurts because it feels like they've sucked for like 5 years now, but they've never really fully committed to a rebuild. Now you got to fully commit to the rebuild. You can't just you can't half-ass a rebuild. That's not how things work here. You got to trust the process, and you got to go with it. So I would be looking forward to guys, maybe a couple offensive coordinators. Look at the Chiefs, you look at the Bills. I probably prefer offensive coordinator, at least one. I mean, Pat Shurmur is good in doing one thing, and that's getting into 3rd and long. That's about it, man. So yeah, if they're going to go all in. Don't tiptoe around it. You just got to send to rip the Band-Aid off.
Right. That's interesting, and I love what you said about Vic Fangio, especially me being a Bears fan. He was
You knew how good he was as a coordinator.
Insane. And like some guys are just defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators, and that's just what they're better at. When they have just time where they can just focus on one side of the ball and they don't necessarily have to have their hand in every part of the football team, they're going to excel a lot better. I still personally think Vic Fangio is the best defensive mind in the NFL, whether he's, a
at
head
least
coach.
Top 3. At the least top 3. Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
He is insane. I know a lot of people have been questioning some of his decision making in the games the past couple weeks, especially during that 3-game skid. Do you think, there's any chance he saves his job? If I kind of want to look at the schedule with you here real quick for the rest of the year.
I see, if you want to look at the schedule, it's fine. I see 3 wins.
Yeah. So Cowboys, Eagles, Chargers, Chiefs, Lions, Bengals, Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs. So I'm assuming Eagles, Lions, and who's the third one you think you could beat? The Raiders or the Cowboys?
The Chiefs once.
Maybe the Chiefs once.
Just because the Chiefs also suck this year too, so there's a chance. Damn it.
So 3 wins would put you guys at 7-10. Not exactly really bumping up the resume there. It's just very interesting. I know
there's no way he keeps his job. I think there's no debate. There's no way in any world. Like, I'm okay with him keeping Vic Fangio and the coaching staff until the end of the season, because I'd rather him keep everyone and then instead of firing Vic Fangio, because you want to know who's probably taking over as head coach if Vic Fangio's out there. It's Pat Shurmur. So no. You keep Vic Fangio in there. You fire them at the end of the season if you really want to. But there's no justifiable reason to keep Vic Fangio, Pat Shurmur, Tim McMahon, or most of that coaching staff around.
Right.
There isn't.
Let's talk a little bit about your quarterback situation for a second here. No, you don't want to?
Fine, if we have to.
It can be very brief. Teddy Bridgewater.
No, it's all good. I'm okay with it.
Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock. Teddy had a really great start to the year. It's kind of, soiled a little bit. What is your take on this on your quarterback situation? I'll just keep it as simple as that. If you need to rant about it, this is your time.
Well, you've already told I can get on the good rant, especially if you tune into my normal ones. I get at least one good rant a week. That's my guarantee to everyone that listens in. But like I said, man, this quarterback situation ever since Peyton Manning left is just not good. You mean guys like Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, Case Keenum, the elite Joe Flacco, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. No one's been able to find consistent success. It's been horrifying to watch, quite frankly. And there's been huge misses. I like them to draft Justin Fields. Sure, but if you're looking at that Pat Surtain, he's looking like if it was for Micah Parsons, he'd be Defensive Rookie of the Year right now. He's in 6 of his 7 starts. He's only given up 40 or more yards once. In 6 of his 7 starts, he's given up 40 yards or less. In only 1 start has he given up more than 40 yards. Doesn't really give up touchdowns. One of the highest graded players according to PFF, rookies and defensive backs. He's locked down, and so there's nothing wrong with that draft pick. I mean, you had one choice. You pick it. Justin Fields, not going to develop under Nagy. He wouldn't develop under the Broncos coaching staff anyway. So, not really a big deal there. Elway's missed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Elway's missed when it comes to drafting. He likes his tall white quarterbacks, and Paxton Lynch, man. Oh, I was all in.
October, baby.
No.
Are you white, at least 6'5", and have like 10.5-inch hands? You're going to the Denver Broncos.
Straight up, man. Why couldn't I be 6'5"? Sweet damn, I've been playing quarterback for the Broncos right now. See, obviously, I don't have to throw the ball well or make good decisions. Look at the Broncos quarterbacks that play for them. Of course, they haven't had the best of help with their coaching staff, like I mentioned. But, Paxton Lynch wasn't going to be a good quarterback, even if he had Sean McVay. Well, actually, no. Sean McVay might have actually given him a chance. But that might be about it. Tate Bridgewater, he's not a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback, if I'm being honest. He has not been in the good, I'll just keep going, not a good situation. Drew Lock, he can be a quarterback. He has the potential to be a good quarterback. I kind of like what I saw from him in the preseason this year, but he's not ready to be a starting quarterback in the league, and I'm not sure if he'll ever be a starting quarterback in the league. Can he be a really good backup? Yes. Starting quarterback? I have my doubts. It wouldn't hurt to trade them. You probably have to draft a quarterback this year, even though it's not that strong of a class. Unless, fingers crossed, you're somehow able to get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson this offseason. If they get Russell Wilson, I would forget all about this whole Von Miller situation, at least mostly. But probably not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers, man, there's a chance. There's a legitimate chance of that one. Outlook isn't good, though. It's going to take a while, and I'm just preparing myself to embrace the suck for that much longer.
Right. So you've been talking about all this draft capital that they are building. What direction would you like them to go, with those top picks that they have acquired? Could be the second and third round pick, but really, if you are Patton, you're the GM of the Broncos, first round pick this year, what position are you drafting?
Quarterback. They've tiptoed around the quarterback for too long. They've taken quarterbacks. They've signed some guys that might be good for a year. They've drafted the quarterback in the second round. They've wasted first round picks on bad quarterbacks. You kind of just got to take a shot at this point. You kind of just got to take a shot. You probably take a quarterback first round, maybe the second round. Besides that, you got to build that offensive line a little bit more. You're going to rebuild that defensive line and those linebackers. I would say that the biggest weakness on the Broncos right now is probably the middle of the field in their linebacking core and maybe the interior defensive line as well. I mean, if besides quarterback, of course, that secondary could be Patrick Surtain's going to be good for a while. Justin Simmons, arguably the best safety in the league right now. He's going to be good for a while. They got him long-term. Build the linebacking core. Build around Josie Jewell because he's been damn good. He was having a damn good year until he tore his pec. That injury certainly didn't help. You're going to have to get some more pass rushers now. Like I said, middle of that defense is what I'm going to be looking forward to the most. Maybe a cornerback in here. Quarterback, in priorities, I'd probably put quarterback, linebackers, interior defensive line. And then besides that, after that, I go offensive line.
Okay. That is the list. I hope you are listening, Patton. That is exactly what you guys need.
Hey, George, hit me up. Hell, at this point, I could probably even coach for you guys too.
Absolutely. So what have the bright spots been for the Broncos this year? I mean, I know you mentioned the young guy, Patrick Surtain, who's been playing really well.
Fantastic.
Are there
so damn good at football.
I mean, I've got Melvin Gordon on one of my fantasy teams. He hasn't been doing that terrible, kind of having a little resurgence to his year. What makes you excited about the future of the Broncos, if anything?
They're two rookies. I mean, Patrick Surtain, but on the other side of the football, Javonte Williams. That guy is a freaking animal. You see how many times he breaks tackles, how many times he runs guys over, how many times he spins out of a tackle and just makes guys miss. That guy is really, really, really damn good. And if Pat Sherman knew what was good for him, he'd actually play him more, give him the more carries. Javonte Williams should be the best rookie in the league right now, offensive rookie in the league right now. He just hasn't had the chances. When he's been given the chances, he's excelled every time. I think at least before a couple weeks ago, he was averaging like 6.5 yards a carry. That's ridiculous. That's damn near Derrick Henry numbers. And so Javonte Williams, he's going to be good for a while. Patrick Surtain's going to be good for a while. Justin Simmons going to be good for a while. Garrett Bowles, I really like what I saw from him last year. Albert O, they're a tight end. I like his return. Jerry Jeudy. Let's say the rookies in Surtain and Williams in that wide receiving core, because Albert O, Noah Fant could be decent. They shouldn't have him block because he sucks at blocking, and is what it is, I guess. Tim Patrick, extremely underrated. Cortland Sutton, really solid. Jerry Jeudy can be fantastic. So those are the bright spots for me. They're a little bit limited. And I mean, once Bradley Chubb and Josie Jewell, they have young guys at almost every part of the field that you could be excited about. It's just not a complete team. But there's definitely pieces there that you could build around. And so that's what I'm banking all of my hope on. All of it. Because I have nothing else to bank on left.
Fun fact: Albert O is from Springfield, Illinois. That is where I was born. Actually,
okay, so you got to show some love for the hometown.
I do. I like Albert O. He went to Sacred Heart Griffin High School, which is where a lot of my family members went. Well, actually, my mom went to it when it was just Sacred Heart, and then they combined with the all boys school to make it Sacred Heart Griffin. That's where my uncles went. I got a lot of ties to Springfield.
Well,
so
there you go.
Always like to root for the Illinois guys, the 217 guys. So get Albert some more targets. Why
more
don't
Noah
we?
Fant, at least.
So Ross, this has been awesome, man. Let's kind of wrap this up. You mentioned quarterbacks. I want to keep this topical for this week. A former Broncos quarterback stepped in and got the win for his team. Unfortunately, Jameis Winston is now out for the year with an ACL tear. He goes down in the game on Sunday against the Bucs. Trevor Siemian comes in out of nowhere. I mean, hand up, I had no idea he was on the Saints. And
I'll admit, didn't know either. I knew he was somewhere.
And wins this football game. You're a guy that knows a thing or two about Trevor Siemian. I don't know if you were watching this game or not, or if you saw anything.
He didn't do too bad.
He looked okay. Right.
Okay. I was like, hey, look better than he ever did with the Broncos.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, did you see this coming when he comes in? I thought, all right, Bucs are a lock here to close this out, but he made throws. I mean, including one to Bears legend Kevin White, shout out. But what did you think about Siemian's performance on Sunday?
I thought it proved just how good of a coach that Sean Payton is. Sean Payton's been plugging guys in. He's seen success with Taysom Hill. Obviously saw with Hall of Famer Drew Brees. He saw it with Tate Bridgewater. He saw it with Trevor Siemian now. I mean, of course he saw it with Jameis Winston. I was a huge fan of Jameis Winston, at least post LASIK. I thought he was going to have a really good year. So I'm super disappointed that we're not going to be able to see him actually fulfill his destiny in my prediction. And so, it is what it is. Trevor Siemian, not a great quarterback. Definitely someone that you're not going to win football games from him. That's not it. I don't think that's anything crazy of me saying. You can win football games with him. Even a bad organization team like the Broncos won, I think, like 4 or 5 games with him. So you can do that. Sean Payton's going to show him the path of success. They have Alvin Kamara. They have a good defense behind them. They picked Brady off twice, ran it back once, and this Saints team is still definitely in there, even without Jameis. Are they nearly as much of a contender as they were? No. Can they still make playoffs? Yes, they can with Trevor Siemian. But if you really want to be honest, maybe if you want to tie back into something I was saying, maybe you got to bring Teddy back.
Ooh.
Maybe you got to bring Teddy back.
Pick up the phone, Sean.
Or a guy that's just got done coaching high school football in that region. Bring in Phillip Rivers.
That's a take right there. Philly Rivers to New Orleans. I'd
rather Teddy Bridgewater though, because all Phillip Rivers is known for is throwing interceptions in the fourth quarter. But for 3 quarters, he's a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. For the fourth quarter, Not too sure, but hey, I think they gotta look at Teddy. You really had to be looking at Teddy. If the Broncos, you gotta be taking calls from the Titans about Melvin Gordon. Kyle Fuller, the Seahawks should be ringing them up about that. There's a lot of guys I can go a lot of places and get some pretty good draft capital. But yeah, Trevor Siemian. I do have a joke that probably is not appropriate for online entertainment. Of course, got a lot of those because I have a bad mind. So I'll refrain from saying it, but he can make people really underestimate him and almost make them pay for it. But if he's successful, I'm going to credit about 65% of it to Sean Payton.
Yeah, absolutely. It just shows that is insane. Sean Payton can beat Tom Brady with Trevor Siemian. And I mean, you have to give credit to New Orleans defense, what they were able to do last night, because they really did look good as well. So I just got a couple more questions for you, and I will let you get out of here, my man. So you've mentioned a lot of names. We're recording this on the 1st. The trade deadline is the 2nd when this will be released. In your opinion, who is like most likely to be moved on from next at this deadline in
Gordon.
Denver?
I'm not even going to let you finish it. It has to be Melvin Gordon because he's a good running back. Williams is the future of that position. He's hands down the guy that should be pounding the rock the most. Yvan Boone there is a decent backup, to be honest. You're probably going to get the most for a trade with Melvin Gordon there as well. He's on a 1-year contract. I don't really think he should be with the Broncos next year. He has 1 more year left on his contract. Excuse me. So I think he's the most ideal guy in terms of value in and value that's still there on the team, even in the absence of him. That's probably the best one there. Kyle Fuller, probably 2nd place on there as well. Tate Bridgewater 3rd. If I want to give you a top 3 like that, that's probably where I put it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great answer. Didn't even let me finish. Look for
right.
Melvin Gordon.
Sorry, I knew it already.
No, that's great. If you already knew what you had to say, just hit me with it. I love it.
Or moving Gordon to the Chargers.
Interesting couple names there. Interesting.
If the Chargers had to go after either Marlon Mack or Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, they are a team that everybody was so high on at the beginning of the year, and they're one that looks to be faltering.
I'm going to have a lot of fun talking about them this week, that's for sure. There's a lot to go into with the Chargers right now.
Absolutely. There absolutely is. There's quite a bit. There's quite a bit. We don't really have time to do that now. I want to ask you, let's just kind of wrap up the final thoughts on, Von Miller. He's gone. I guess we've really already said, what's next for Denver. So I'll ask you this. This is a dumb question. Who won the trade? The Rams or the Broncos?
I'll give you a dumb answer. Both teams.
Yeah.
Because that's the dumb answer because it's such a cop-out. If I'm going to say, if you're going to give a true winner, it's the Rams because it's put them heavily into Super Bowl contention, more than they were already, which was a lot. And if you look at, you really want to give up a 2nd, 3rd rounder for a future Hall of Famer, for the greatest pass rusher our franchise has ever seen, 7-time All-Pro player, 8-time Pro Bowler, MVP, Super Bowl MVP. The list goes on and on and on. You can talk about accolades of Von Miller all damn day. So you get him for a 2nd, 3rd rounder, and the Broncos are pretty much paying off his entire remaining contract. Rams won this trade. Broncos fans lost it. But ultimately, the Broncos didn't really. It wasn't a bad return. It wasn't a bad return for the reality of the situation.
That is you speaking like a logical sports fan. So what I want
doesn't happen often. So you're welcome.
Exactly. So what I want to do, we're going to hold our moment of silence for Broncos fans and Von Miller. We're just going to ask everybody to bow their heads and just kind of reflect on what happened today. So here we go. Thank you. Oh, that was just beautiful.
The Broncos country greatly appreciates you, and so do I. I'm glad I had to go through with that one. It was. I miss you, buddy. I miss you already. At the least, I made a couple good memes about it today, so that kind of helped numb the pain. But
just you got to meme the pain away.
yeah.
So before we get out of here, man, let us know where we can find all your awesome content, Fourth and Long Radio, all that good stuff.
Oh, you can find us everywhere. In fact, you can't run away from us. We're just coming after you. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Technically, we have a Facebook. I don't use it. Technically, we have OnlyFans. I don't use it. Best place to find everything. Of course, we're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're anywhere you find anything that is related to podcasts. And you can find us, of course, everything at thefourthandlong.com. Of course, if we're talking specifically NFL stuff here, that's thefourthandlong.com/NFL. And I greatly appreciate anyone that comes over, watches their stuff. Greatly appreciate that one. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so we're making some good progress here this month. And we're any sports very much appreciated. And I'm grateful that we had the opportunity here on the Brew Party, and it wasn't much of a party. If it was a depressing one. But it's a party nonetheless, as long as we're in the house here.
Of course, man. I had a good time. We did have some good laughs. They might have been painful laughs.
Oh, there was a lot of tears behind those laughs. I'll tell you that much.
as soon as the camera turns off, he's just Ross is gonna be in Spain without the S.
Don't worry. I got a cry bucket next to me that I've had all day.
Of course. It's just a crazy thing when you're, this team it doesn't matter what team it is, what team you're a fan of. You just pour your heart and soul into these teams, and to lose a franchise player like that you've had for 10 years, he wasn't a contract year. You were paying him a lot of money, but
it makes sense. But when stuff makes sense, doesn't make it hurt nonetheless. And if I just want to leave you guys with one thing, I'll give you a Fourth Long's word of the day, and that word is agony.
You heard it here first, folks. This is Ross's first reaction, his first time being behind a microphone talking about the Von Miller trade. Crazy weekend of NFL action, of course, and they hit us with this Monday afternoon. So Von Miller to the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are all in. It's Super Bowl or bust. This is one of those rare years you can tell a team, if you do not win the Super Bowl, your season is a failure. If you are a Los Angeles Rams fan, that is a conversation for another day. I want to thank Ross Allen once again from Fourth and Long Radio. Go check out all their content. They drop awesome stuff on all their platforms: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, OnlyFans. You better check that out.
Hey, there's nothing on there. I made it because I thought it'd be funny.
That's
to be honest, it is kind of funny.
That is pretty funny. We're just gonna start seeing Ross's nudes leak on the internet.
No, don't even talk about that. I'll do calf pictures. I'm very proud of my calves. So
yeah, honestly, I bet you there are some weirdos out there.
There is 100% a calf person.
There are some calf people out there that you should be milking for money right now, sir.
You should see my calf. If I need to flex, I mean, my girlfriend's going to hate me because she hates how much I talk about my calves. But I do calf raises with like 6 plates. I rip those out. I got them calves bigger as some people's quads. Okay, don't skip calf day, especially don't skip leg day. No.
Definitely wouldn't be cheap calf pictures then. But anyway, on that note,
content only, baby.
Of course. Shit. This is the Brew Party Podcast, episode 84. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. You can go to www.thebrewparty.com. It's got links to listen to all of our episodes on your favorite podcast player, links to support the show. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/brewparty. Donate $5. I will shotgun a beer for you live on the show. It'll be your official sponsored beer. What else? Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Brew Party. You can follow us on Facebook at the Brew Party Podcast. I do use Facebook a little bit more than Ross does, unfortunately, but other than that, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to Ross for being here. As painful as it was for you, man, that was some great analysis and some awesome insight into the Denver Broncos. All right, we are out of here. Brew Party Podcast. Hit us up. Tell
Hey,
us
let me
your
ruin the
thoughts.
outro real quick. I will make
Do
a
it.
fourth and long promise that if you guys subscribe to if you leave a message to me and say that you're from Brew Party and you subscribe to our Patreon, any amount of money that you subscribe with, I'll go ahead and donate that so we can see a bunch of shotguns.
Oh shit! All right, we better
Yep.
we better.
You can of course find us at patreon.com/4th and long.
There we go. Smash that.
That's a
Smash
promise.
that sub button. Support both shows. We got awesome content. Whether you're a Denver fan, they even got Australian rules football content.
We
They
got
post.
that hoodie, man. What you
they
guys know
do-
about the football from down under? It's a good sport. Good sport.
This is the longest outro of all time, so I am going to go ahead and end it now. Brew Party Podcast. Thanks for being here, whether you're listening or not. Check us out on Friday for our Maloney's Moneyline live stream with our special guests, Lucas Wilson and Grant Baker. Thank you.